Great. Today we're going to take a look at how to add new refrigeration and HVAC equipment on the refrigerant tracking site. We're on the login screen. Let's go ahead and we'll log in. From the login screen, to add new refrigeration and HVAC equipment, go into the Inventory tab, and then under the Inventory tab, then click on Equipment. When we click on Equipment, we then have the ability to add the refrigeration and HVAC equipment, which we will do. Next thing you want to do is go ahead and choose a site. And then from the site, we'll want to go ahead and company-wide come in and actually add the equipment. All the equipment gets aligned against the site. So that includes both the refrigeration and the HVAC equipment. So if we say, all right, we're going to align this equipment, here's our company, we're going to go ahead and add equipment. We're going to click on our site, click on the refrigeration equipment button here. Now we can add new equipment individually, which we'll work through in just a moment. The other thing we could do if we had equipment in mass, we could actually upload that equipment into a CSV format. We won't look at doing that now, but understand that is another option that you guys can use. So to individually add equipment, we then go ahead and click on Add New. And after clicking on Add New, anything in these fields over here that have a red asterisk, those are all the required bits. Letters, numbers, dashes are good to go. Don't put any special characters, so no pound or hash sign. But to add in equipment, the system will take also, various sizes of systems. So if you had a small self-contained unit, something under 50 pounds, don't worry, the system can cope with those sort of small units. So anything you guys want to add in sort of system-wise, the system will accommodate. So let's step through these fields. And so we'll say maybe this is a rack. We'll call this guy rack A. And then the manufacturer, we click on this field. We can choose from one in the list, or we can start typing in here. We say maybe this is a train rack. And then we've got model and serial number, again, letters, numbers, dashes. And let's say we didn't have a model or serial number. In this case, we would say, all right, maybe for the serial number, I don't have it. Even though it's not a required field, I would say, make sure on that you put like UNK for like unknown. That's a great way around that. Okay, equipment type. This is important in terms of setting up the equipment right here. And to set up the equipment, what we're going to do is go ahead and we're going to code it if it's commercial refrigeration, if it's industrial refrigeration process, or if it's comfort cooling. This will help with sort of categorizing the equipment and in terms of sort of asset tracking for you guys, but also if there's prevailing leak rates that are important in terms of compliance, coding this equipment correctly will help those sort of follow suit. Okay, so we'll say in this case, maybe this guy is going to be commercial refrigeration. Let's go ahead and click on commercial refrigeration. And again, sort of stepping through the rest of these fields in here, we've got then the install date is the next bit. If we wanted to adjust this, we could open up the calendar here by just clicking on this button here. In this case, we'll say, this was actually installed today. So we'll leave it with today's date. Then we have a location description. Where is this located? Maybe he's up in a mechanical house. And then for the automatic leak detection coverage, if you know there's leak detection coverage, we'll indicate that here. We'll say in this case, there's not. And then the refrigerant type, this is the major sort of ASHRAE value for the refrigerant types. All the major refrigerants are in here. If you have a special new HFO blend that you don't see in the list, not a problem. Just let us know. We'll update the library in the refrigerants. But we should have all the major types. So in this case, we'll say, all right, maybe this guy's holding, 448A. And then how much is the charge? We'll say, all right, maybe this is holding 1,000. And we'll put in a fractional amount. Because the system will take fractional amounts for the holding charges. So don't worry about rounding. Put in the actual amount. And stepping through the rest of these fields, we've got then after that the charge size unit in pounds. We'll indicate the calculation method, how they determine that full charge. We'll open this up just to kind of show you guys here that we can say it's manufactured measured or calculated. I would opt for one of those three, sort of options if you know it was something that was calculated, or if that gas was actually pulled out and weighed, great, you could say measured. If it's coming off of the manufacturer's nameplate, that's where we'd say, manufacturer's info. So in this case, let's just go ahead and say this was in fact calculated. That also is important in some cases for compliance. So make sure that that is, sort of ticked with the correct item in the full charge calculation method. Okay, other items in here, a lot of optional bits as far as, things like under the documents, we can also go ahead and add in invoicing, pictures of leaks, things like that. That documents view actually pops up in all the usage event areas. We won't touch this in terms of adding our equipment. Okay, last bit that's required here is last time a leak inspection was done, we'll say, all right, yeah, that was actually done today. If you don't know when that was, completed, you could say, no, I don't know. The reason why we want to add that in, again, this is another part of compliance that will come into play. So if there was, leak inspection done for some compliance-related items, that will be an issue, and the tracking site will actually sort of set it up sort of calendar-wise and sort of push that, to a future date for a future event. So it's important to say, for compliance too, I know the last time a leak inspection was done. If you don't put a date in there, won't sort of tick that event. Okay, let's go ahead and let's save the equipment. And let's go ahead and click on our save button. And it'll then have sort of a confirmation screen that'll pop up. Everything looks good, great, we hit confirm. If it's not, we could come back and hit continue editing. Let's say we review everything. Everything looks great. And now we see under our equipment list, there is that rack we just added. So if we had usage to go ahead and add, we could go ahead and add that. Let's say we wanted to add in an HVAC system. Very similar process, same kind of bit, choosing company, choosing region, choosing site, clicking on this refrigeration equipment button, and let's go ahead and click on add new again. Okay, so for this unit, we'll just say maybe he's an HVAC. We'll call him an HVAC 55. And then manufacturer, maybe we start typing in here. We say maybe he's like a carrier unit, this sort of thing. And we just keep sort of typing through this field. We'll see that we can choose something from the list, or we could actually just start typing through. All right, so model number, again, let's say I didn't know what that was. I'm going to just put in an unknown J, same bit here. Maybe we have a serial number right here. Okay, so our equipment type. This is, again, going to be a bit of a change for the HVAC system. We're going to code this guy as comfort cooling. And then moving on down into the list, we've got the install date. Let's actually back this up and say, I know for a fact this guy was installed last year in June. And we'll code it with today's date. So just to show you guys, what does it look like if we're going to adjust the calendar? And location description, maybe he's up on the rooftop. And if there's automatic leak detection coverage, we'll say for this unit, we know for a fact that there was not, leak detection coverage. All right, refrigerant types. Again, we'll put in the refrigerant type here. Let's just say this guy's going to be holding R407A. We see if I try and type that in and I don't put the dash, that's the naming convention. So you can either choose from the drop-down list, or you can start typing that gas type in there. So we'll go ahead and say that's R407A. So what's the holding charge? Maybe this guy's holding 34.3 pounds of refrigerant. And the last time leak inspection was done, just keep rolling through here. We'll say, you know what? I don't know when that was done. I'm just sort of entering the equipment. And we'll see in terms of doing that, it's not a problem. You can go ahead and still add the equipment. So here's our confirmation about this HVAC 55. Let's hit confirm. That'll take us back to our list. If we look down into our equipment listing area, it's in there. So if we had usage, we can go ahead and edit it. One other thing I wanted to show you guys, if we wanted to do some very simple edits on things like the equipment name, manufacturer, model number, serial number, adjusting things like numbers and names. If you come into this actions area and we click on the item here that looks like a little piece of paper with like a pencil, this allows you to make those simple edits. If I needed to make changes as far as the gas type or the holding charge, that's a different story. If you didn't add any usage, I would go ahead and actually then remove that equipment, and then re-add it with the correct information. Okay. So this is what it looks like in terms of adding in new refrigeration and HVAC equipment. So you can come in to this area and add the equipment at any point in time. You don't have to add everything in mass. You can using the CSV function, but the system is set up to accommodate you adding, various pieces of equipment at really at any point in time.